Yes. This is the time and place for the City Commission meeting in Huron, South Dakota on November 21st, 2022. Could I have a roll call, please?
Smith.
Here.
Weinreich.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Robish.
Present.
Mayor Harrington.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda approval. Do we have any additions or deletions to our agenda tonight from the commission? Seeing none, I do have one though. I'm going to add, it's going to be to the petitions and communications. It's going to be 8.1. It'll be a funding support letter for the RCP&E Railroad. That will be our addition. I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve the agenda with the addition of 8.1.
Yes.
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. All right, moving on to public forum. Public comments may be sent to the live broadcast in the city's YouTube channel. This link is listed on the city's website at www.huronsd.gov. Click on Government and then City Commission. In order to use the YouTube chat feature, please create an account with your YouTube and Gmail or use your existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. Does the commission have any additions to our public forum tonight? Seeing none, do we have any from the audience? Any public forum people tonight? Seeing none, our HR director, Nathan Hofer, is in the back of the room on the computer. You can send your questions to him or comments to him, and he will get it to the commission, and we'll try to answer your questions tonight. Best we can. If we can't, we'll get back to you tomorrow. So, with that, we'll move on. City Commission adjourns to convene as a Board of Adjustment for the following public hearings: conditional use permits, 4.1, and we'll call on Barry Kranzer, our planner, to explain what 4.1 is.
Thank you, Mayor. The conditional use permit is filed by the applicant Jordan and Kelsey Strickers of K&J Holdings LLC. Project address is 259 Dakota Avenue South to construct apartments on the second floor of this building, where this use requires a conditional use permit in an area zone B2 Central Business District. This project basically calls for the construction of 8 apartments on the second floor. And so the hearing examiner looked at this, and the staff all considered this, and with his plans and what he's working on doing to upgrade the facility, we all recommended approval. Mr. Strickers is here along with Justin Pisak.
We get a motion to approve.
I would move to approve.
Move to
Second.
approve by Rich Ragg, second by Drew Weinrich. At this time, we'll take any questions from the commission, if we have any, or if the applicants have anything to say too. So, any questions for the people?
I just
Yes, Commissioner
have
Smith.
one, if I may. What's the current use of the second floor now? Is that being used?
I think it's vacant at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it just open span right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Used to be a bowling alley, used to be a roller
Rolling
rink. used to be
rink,
all
roller
that.
rink.
No kidding. Before my time.
Yeah.
I think it's been vacant for a long time, Brian.
I have a question
Yes, Commissioner Wood.
for Mr. Cranston. Did the fire chief inspect that also?
Yes, and they are in the process of putting in, I don't know if he's actually been on site yet, but they're in the process of putting in a fire suppression system for that second floor, and so that will all be inspected before the COA, the certificate of occupancy is issued.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on this item? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinrich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. That passed. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to 4.2, conditional use permit. And Barry, you have this one also.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Conditional use permit filed by this applicant, the applicant is Genesis Farms LLC. Emmett Reistroffer is on Zoom with us, so thank you, Emmett, for attending. Project address is 2369 Old Highway 14 West to operate a medical cannabis dispensary where code requires a conditional use permit for this use in an area zone B3. We did an assessment on the conditional use permit as staff, and he meets all of the zoning requirements at that location. This is, for those of us that have been around a long time, this basically is the old Casperson's total station out there, right at the intersection of Highway Old 14 and West Park Boulevard, or West Park Avenue, right there, right in the corner there. So it'd be located right across the street from where Lancota is. And they meet all of the zoning requirements. They're not within any 1,000 feet of any school or 500 feet of any park or anything like that. So with that, all of the staff looked at this, and as did the hearing examiner, and we all recommended approval.
Need a motion?
Move to approve.
Move to approve. Commissioner Smith, need a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Bragg. Any questions on this item for Barry or for Emmett on this? Yes, Commissioner Bragg.
So did I just hear you say versus their other spot, is this somebody that has previously come before us in a new location, or is this
No,
additional?
This is a separate application. Genesis Farms is a member of the previous LLC that applied for the Jimmy John's location, along with the group that actually owns Jimmy John's. So the principles are, some of the principles are the same but different. And so this application is actually being submitted by Genesis Farms themselves. And so it's a standalone application that would be a new location for them.
And in terms of available licenses,
We have one conditional use permit in city limits that is available for use, yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Robish.
Just a clarification, we have one left,
One left,
and we have a total of
4
within the city.
within the city limits, yes.
Approved, they have been all licensed.
Right. So 3 have been approved for the conditional use permit, for the zoning piece. So I understand there's some licenses that are not filled yet. They haven't done the documentation and everything, gone through the process yet, so.
Any other questions? Yes.
I have some for the applicant, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
I was just wondering, did the applicant purchase part of that building, or is it rented, or is it, and maybe that's none of my business, but I guess I think it is.
Emmett, do you wanna, are you renting that building, or you, will you be renting that west half, or will you be, owning the whole building, or?
We will rent the new unit, I guess, if you'll call it that. We're gonna subdivide. It's currently the truckers lounge, which isn't used hardly at all. We'll have our own entrance separate from the gas station, and so we'll rent this new unit from MG Oil, which is the property owner. And I'll just point out that Troy and Marlon Erickson, who are 2 of the 3 principal officers of Genesis Farms, are also the founders and owners of MG Oil. So there's common ownership, but it is a different entity. So it'll be a lease, it could be a $1 lease or, something, but there will be an agreement between Genesis Farms and MG Oil to lease that unit.
Okay.
And my question for that was, and you alluded to a little bit of it, but there is access inside the building and there's access outside the building. So are they going to be permanently closed on the inside?
There will be a separate entrance and exit for our customers. There will be another entrance for employees only that is controlled in the back room which is now the truck wash, the old truck wash. There would be some shared, space, I guess, back there with the gas station and us, but none of the cannabis would not be part of our licensed premises. That's just like maybe a break room or something could go back there. But the licensed cannabis dispensary will be 100% independent from the gas station. So there will be no way for a gas station customer to come into the dispensary unless they left the gas station and walked around and came through our entrance and then had to show their ID and their medical card to get access.
Okay. And the last question I have for you, the other dispensaries kind of gave us an idea of what they had for customer. I'm not asking you for a certain number, but do you have any kind of ideas of what you're looking at for customers? I know there's plenty of parking, I get that, but for the coming.
It's a great question, and it's actually a question I'm asking myself as well. So I don't really know the answer, but what I'm thinking about is I'm watching the state's registry. It's updated every other Monday. They're currently at 4,800 patients across the state. We're hoping that number will get up to about 15,000 patients, just based on the public health data of how many South Dakotans we think could be eligible for medical cannabis. How many are in Huron is really tough to pinpoint. I usually just break it down by each county. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's not a significant amount, which is why we've decided to go for this location, because it is a smaller store where we could have one cash register. And I'm happy to speak about the other one too if anyone wants an update, I guess, on where we're at on that. But this one is smaller and we could open a lot faster. It doesn't require as much build out as the other location. So one cash register to hopefully help maybe 10 to 20 patients per day. And I think we're proposing to be open every day except for Sundays. But if we are too slow to justify those hours, we would probably have to cut it down to just a few days a week. But we'll want to get to know our customers and their schedules, and we could even do appointments for certain customers to, if it's that small of a number, we just want to help them out. So 10 to 20 a day is what I'm hoping for right now. So it's not a very busy store.
Okay, and the hours of service are the hours of operation?
Yeah, what's in their plan definitely meets the zoning requirements.
Any other questions? for anybody? Yes.
I would appreciate, since you brought it up, you mentioned you could give us an update on the other facility.
Yep, absolutely. So that's a different entity that Genesis Farms is partnered with the owners of Jimmy John's. And we basically, we're moving a lot slower there because of contractor availability, and that requires a lot more work. It is a bigger store, and what we're trying to do right now is potentially revise the floor plan. And Barry, that's a question I guess I have for you, is if I make that store smaller and change the floor plan, would I have to redo this process again? I wasn't sure about that. We haven't made that decision yet, but we're trying to look at ways to reduce our costs on the build out and maybe cut that unit size in half. I want to say it's like somewhere around 1,800 square feet, and we would probably be fine with 600 or 700 for another kind of small store with just one or two cash registers. So we're talking to the building owners, contractors, and our architect. And actually, we have a meeting early next week after everyone's caught up after the holiday. So that's kind of the update on that. It's just been really slow moving. Right now, we're using the same construction crew and contractors at all of our locations, and they're currently working on our Yankton and Mitchell locations. And Pierre is next, and Sioux Falls is being dealt with separately. But the Mitchell and Yankton contractors, we'd like to get them up to Huron, and would probably go to the location that's on the agenda tonight. We would actually move to that one first, and then work with the guys at Jimmy John's, because this one's a Genesis only one. We can move a little bit faster, where the other one's a partnership, and we have to work with them and come to an agreement on changing that floor plan and how that's going to impact our lease and all of that. So everything's moving slowly, for better or worse. But I can answer any other questions.
Yeah, that would, just so you know, Emmett, when if you do decide to revise that floor plan, you wouldn't have to necessarily go through the conditional use application and start all over, but we would need the revised floor plan drawings, because we're gonna need to review that and make sure all of the zoning requirements are met as if, you will with the state, with, some of the safety measures and security measures that you have to meet there.
Sounds good, Barry. And I'll shoot you an email with that day, because I'll be there meeting with. We're letting one of our contractors look at it. So if your schedule allows, maybe after that meeting, I've got some decisions made. I can just swing by City Hall and we can get that process going.
Perfect. That would be good.
Okay.
Thank you, Emmett.
Any other questions?
I think there is somebody in the audience that would like to speak to.
Oh, okay. Anybody else want to speak to this issue? State your name and address, please.
Glenn Youngerman. I am actually a registered voter in the city of Huron. Well, Emmett, Mayor and Commissioners, you're going to see me from a different, unique position. About a month ago, I went to a public hearing about the extension of licenses for the state of South Dakota with the Department of Health. I was pretty concerned because lack of a better way, the excuse that we can't get something accomplished because of either supply or contractors, I find to be a little bit of a farce, especially in the dispensaries. There's nothing special about a dispensary other than the basic ordinances that the state has passed and that the cities have passed. And I find it really offensive that there's larger companies that are coming in and signing up licenses all over, and nothing's really happening. You all know our situation here in Huron that Jeff had to go through. Is he able now to use the front of that building for something else? Because that's under the concern of our ordinances. We weren't believed that he could, that he had to use that address just for one thing. So that's the second part of the concern I have. I don't want to see somebody else. I welcome them to the industry. I love competition, as most of you know. I love a healthy debate. That's not the issue. The issue is, are you actually going to follow through? And we have one that's been sitting there, and have they paid the city their $5,000 for that one? That could still be paid and not be built out. Or is it just a stall tactic? And I apologize, Emmett, if you think I'm being this as an attack on you. This is the industry, this is business, and I'm gonna stand up for what I think. We had some stuff we had to go through, and we fought. And look at this, we're open, and we're providing a really good product, safe product, to the city of Huron and the community. And once again, everybody's always welcome to come in to take a tour. We're really proud of what we accomplish, and we're not gonna back off on that. So the questions I have for the commission is, first, why aren't we at least paying for the license? Second, can Jeff go ahead, and I realize it's a separate thing, but it's still kind of related. Can he use the front part of his building for another business?
If I may, I can answer the second question there. Yes, that's what, it was my understanding when you originally went into that building that you were gonna construct a hallway and you would be able to walk from your front entrance to the back of that. Because part of the issue is you can't address that building to anything other than Dakota Avenue, because
Right.
we can't address it in the alley. Okay, so now, if you were to create a second entrance and then you want to rent that front end out
To a separate entity,
to
it'd
a
be fine.
separate entity,
Okay.
that would be more than
Perfect.
fine, you bet.
Okay,
That wouldn't be an issue at all.
so the main focus is, if you're gonna do this, let's follow through and follow up with the license. Otherwise, it's just a stall, and somebody else can't come in and do business. Not that we want to, one's enough in town for us,
Okay.
so.
Thanks, Len.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Glenn.
saying that, Glenn.
What's that?
Thank you for saying
I
that.
thought you and I might find common ground.
Any other questions on this item? Yes, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Just a point of clarification for the applicant. In your packet, it's page 12 on my packet. Under item number 4, there's a paragraph recognizing or referencing Jimmy John's. 27 parking spaces are provided on the site, 2 ADA, and then it goes on to reference adjacent Jimmy John's restaurant. So I don't know if that needs to be.
Yeah, we'd have to, we'd do all that once we got the new floor plan. We'd evaluate all of those things like parking and all
But
those.
this is referring to a different location.
I think the, it's the same.
Just a copy.
I think it's the same.
Well, I
They
think,
use the same formula.
yeah, I think what they were doing was probably using the same parking formula, but, is what we gave him to do for downtown. But regardless, the parking at that facility to the west is more than ample. But especially given the fact that downtown in the core business area, that obviously we changed all of that.
Yeah, I'm-
Core business, but.
Barry, for clarification, I'm not arguing that.
Right.
But the way I'm reading it, it's referring to the Jimmy John's. I don't know if it's transposed
Oh,
From the
from the
for
original
one application or
application.
this application. That's all I'm
Oh,
getting.
sure.
And Emmett, I don't know if you have reference of that where you're located or not, but
I do. I'm pretty sure that was just a mistake on my end, because about 95% of the information's the same. And so obviously I used the same plan and then needed to make revisions, and I missed the parking formula.
sure.
I know the lot out there is quite large, and but it also needs to get updated with striping the parking spots. So I'm happy to just take a whole other look at the parking and follow up with staff. I believe it's more than enough out there, enough space, but
Yeah,
I don't know the exact.
I'm
I
familiar
apologize.
with the site, and I'm familiar with the site, and there should be ample parking, but you may want to
Yeah, we'll get it.
edit that.
He and I will talk and we'll get that cleaned up. Yeah, I missed that, I apologize.
Okay.
And I feel compelled to follow up on Mr. Youngman's question. That has to do with the licensing fee. Of the 3 that have been issued, how many of those 3 have paid the licensing fee?
Only one.
Do we have anything that requires that to be paid within a certain amount of time in our ordinance?
Not in the zoning ordinance. Because we handle them separately, but.
Yeah, one is actually licensed to have a license within the city of Huron. So getting these, I'm concerned that if they're not licensing, and somebody else comes in, those licenses are still available
But-
On the operations.
if they don't pay for it.
I've got a question, Mayor.
Yes.
So if somebody has been approved for a conditional use, we can have more than 4 conditional uses out there. It comes down to the licensing, correct?
Right.
So if somebody else came today and they had a conditional use and it was approved, those licenses could be filled before, let's say, somebody.
That's not correct. We have 4 conditional use permits available at any one time.
Right, but we only have 4 licenses
But we only have
as
4
well.
licenses,
So if they're not paying their license and we have more than one permit, then you go to that random draw.
Right, then it becomes a draw.
So yes, somebody else could ask for conditional use permit. If they don't pay for the license.
So Barry, that'd be different than what, because you're saying, because the draw would be at the license side. So in order to get to the license side, they would already have to be approved, so we could potentially have more conditional use.
If somebody were to apply, prior to him paying for the license from Genesis, when I say him, Genesis paying for the license,
Or any of the.
yeah, or any of them,
Entity.
And maybe we look at something changing in our ordinance, that once approved by the state, we have that information, we must pay.
We may be getting off topic a little bit here to what our agenda reads tonight, so let's move on to what we're proposing to do. Any more questions for Emmett? Seeing none, I need a motion. We got the motion, so I need a roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Gray,
Aye.
Robish,
Nay?
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Thank you, Emmett. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Emmett. Give me a call or email me and we'll start this process and get some of this stuff cleaned up in the app.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
The Board of Adjustment now adjourns to reconvene as the City Commission. Up on that, first up is consent agenda. Consent agenda, matters appearing on a consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and to be acted upon by the Commission at one time without discussion, unless a member of the Commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. Tonight, this consent agenda consists of 6.1, minutes of November 14th, 2022 City Commission. 6.2, fuel quotes for city departments. 6.3, correction to travel authorization form. 6.4, special event on sale alcoholic beverage license filed by Thunderbird Liquor for the Center for Independence Christmas Party on December 2nd at the Campus Center. 6.5, set the public hearing of December 5th to consider property exchange between the city and Lloyd and Jean Spain for Spain outlets 3, 4, and 5. 6.6, recommend wage increase for Amy Gamber in hockey/skating arena. 6.7, payment of the bills. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Roberts, second, moved, and Commissioner Weinrich, a roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Gray,
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Next up, petition and communications. We have in front of you, I gave you a letter that we received, or request we received from our railroad. They are in the process of, they would like to have us send a letter back. They're in the process of trying to get funding from the federal government to build a new roundhouse at the present site where the old one is. It's a project that's in the cost of about a little over $23 million. So what they're asking is for us to send a letter. We drafted a letter to send to them that they can pass on to the administrator of the Federal Railroad Administration, which we hope will help get, along with other people sending letters, we hope will get the approval of that administration for the grant so that this project could move on and go forward. I also asked the person that contacted me about the old roundhouse, and he assured me that they were not tearing that down. They were gonna leave that and utilize it for other things, because it's such an old structure that is such a big part of railroad in the city of Huron for all these years. They would like to see it stay. So he told me that that's what's going to happen. So we're pleased to hear that. So with that, need a motion to approve the funding support letter to be sent to the railroad on this item.
Move to approve the letter of support.
Okay, motion to approve letter of support. Commissioner Smith, need a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Weinrich. He will, I'm sorry, Bragg. A roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. Departmental items. 10.1, Barry City Planner, I think you can handle this one.
You bet. 10.1 is an item to appoint an appraisal committee to set the value of Spain out lots 3, 4, and 5, and to bring a recommendation to the City of Commission at the hearing on December 5th. So the three that I have been in contact with and they have agreed to serve on this committee are Roger Chase, who obviously is a realtor and landowner in both the county and the city. Danny Hofer, who is a landowner and he is very familiar with planning processes and valuations and things. And then Sean Schnothorst, who obviously works in the engineering department, and he is very familiar with the planning processes that this would take as well. So those three bring a wealth of experience, and I would recommend approval of that committee.
Need a motion to approve?
Move to approve the appraisal committee?
Okay, Commissioner Robish moves to approve. Need a second?
Second.
Commissioner Weinberg, second. Any discussion on this topic? See none, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 10.2, I'll handle. It's an announcement that city offices will be closed on November 24th and 25th in observance of Thanksgiving holiday. Hopefully everybody has a joyful and safe Thanksgiving holiday. 10.3, Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. So to follow up on the same idea, the solid waste department rubble site will be closed on Thursday, November 24th through Saturday, November 26th in observance of Thanksgiving. Thursday and Friday's garbage and recycling will be collected on Wednesday, November 24th. Please have your containers out Tuesday night as the trucks will not be rerouted. Also, the solid waste department will do a citywide collection of green containers on Wednesday, November 30th. So please place those containers out Tuesday evening as we begin at 7 a.m. Again, the trash pickup for Thanksgiving will be Wednesday the 24th, and the last chance to get your green containers will be Wednesday, November 30th. If you have any questions, please call 605-353-8542.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Bragg. That is all we got tonight for public. We're going to have an executive session on the contractual